one of the first ever Monster Hunter games I really started to get into wasn't even one of the traditional ones. It was Monster Hunter Stories 2. And that was kind of the catalyst in a sort of kind of way of me really starting to enjoy Monster Hunter until obviously Nergigante came and made me not play that game for 2 years. But then I eventually did go back, finish that, and ever since I have really enjoyed the Monster Hunter series, even the stories stuff, and even with all the wild stuff, I have kind of been thinking like I would be in favor of a Monster Hunter 3 if they ever decide to do that. Well, today they just kind of did a surprise, something I did not see coming for a little while, and dropped an announcement trailer for Monster Hunter Stories 3. And that's kind of crazy. Now, obviously, I had my own little ideas of what they could do with Monster Hunter Stories, so I'm interested to see how they implement this, what the story around this one's gonna be. And obviously, in the thumbnail, we got the character riding the Rathalos, because Rathalos is always gonna be Monster Hunter. I'm pretty sure we've all kind of accepted that no matter what Monster Hunter comes out in the future, there's always going to be a Rathalos. Man, I'm perfectly fine with that. Rathalos is an iconic figure of Monster Hunter, so I wouldn't want it to go anywhere either. But I'm here today with the announcement trailer for Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection. So I'm definitely interested to see what all this is gonna entail. I kind of doubt, since it's an announcement trailer, we're gonna see any gameplay. Although it's just it's most likely gonna be turn-based combat. At least it would be shocking if it wasn't. I would be super surprised if it went with another kind of combat system other than turn-based. But I guess we'll see. We'll see, and then make our little assessment summaries afterwards. So, let's get started. Yes. Well, ignore that. Oh, another Rathalos egg? Oh. Maybe not. I don't know. Kind of had the symbol of it. I like the outfits. We finally getting some bigger characters and therefore bigger monsters. Monster Hunter Stories 3.
Our ignorance is proving fatal. The encroachment threatens to drive our people out of house and home. But this divide has brought our two kingdoms to the brink of war.
And you are the sole Rathalos rider in Azuria.
My people have been driven into a corner, and the point of no return is looming before us.
Can't afford not to go.
Oh.
I cross the meridian and keep going. But it won't be for long.
Magnamalo! Sweet! That better be a monstie. That better be a monstie we can get. I'm kinda hoping with the symbol and...
I can hear them. Two sounds. Overlapping each other. Two Rathaloses right there. Ooh. 2026.
Son of a gun. Why do you have to make us wait so long, Capcom? Ugh.
You've all been waiting a long time for this one. Here's a
I don't
new
care.
trailer.
I haven't even seen the first season of that. Guess for the time being, here's just a image of a art piece I got for Wild. So yeah, that was definitely interesting. Obviously, it's an announcement trailer, so they're not going to show too much. But yeah, I am kind of liking the way that's going. Like it's showing like human conflict. Like that did show up a bit in Stories 2, but like this looks like full-fledged war, which is something I at least haven't seen from the Monster Hunter universe. Like two kingdoms actually fighting one another. So it'd be interesting to see if there's like real human combat. Like if there's times where you actually face, like in the stories, in stories 1 and 2, you do go against like other riders, but your rider can't target other humans, and the humans can't target you. Not directly. If you're riding a Monstie, then you can attack humans, but when it's just your human character, you can't attack any other human characters. So it'd be kind of interesting to see if in this one, during like the war times or whatever, then if we could target other people. I don't know. That's interesting. But like seeing what I'm hoping for in the back of my head with the image and the fact that in one of the beginning scenes, what I assume to be our character, which one, if that is our character, then that means our character in this game has voice lines too, which that is cool. I love that. I always love having a playable character that has voice lines. I like that in my own personal opinion. I like that. But basically, what I'm trying to get to is the fact that our character, what seemed to be our character, with another character, and they got on a Legiana, and the fact that there are 2 Rathaloses in that egg, I'm kind of hoping they've found or are coming up with a way where we can play the story with a friend. That's one of the things I wanted from a Monster Hunter Stories 3, that we could potentially do the story, or at least a lot more, with another person, with your friend. And if that is the case, if that is where this is going, I am all here for it. I love that idea and will back that 100%. And I think at the end it showed like it's coming to pretty much every platform, just like Monster Hunter Stories 2. Actually, Monster Hunter Stories and Stories 2 have now gotten to pretty much every console. Current console, anyway. But yeah, like, this is looking cool. And Magnum Malo, I was definitely not expecting to see Magnum Malo, but that a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. That was a very cool monster in Rise, so I'm happy to see Magnum Malo come back. Maybe they'll even bring in Malzeno. That would be cool too. And like I said, Magnum Malo definitely better be a Monstie. I will be a little upset if he's not. Oh, that's freaking awesome. I had been chatting with some people about how I would like the idea of another Monster Hunter Stories game, and I guess I just conjured it into existence, I guess. I mean, I know I didn't. Like, obviously had to make that and whatnot, but and the popularity was there for one, so I feel like it was inevitable. But like to talk about it recently, and then it just there's a trailer for it. So 2026. I hope not like too late into 2026. I hope we can start seeing more things of it fairly soon. Like, I know since it's just an announcement trailer, it's probably going to be a few months or something. But I hope we can start hearing more about it, especially a pre-order date for it. So Wilds will be my first ever Monster Hunter game that I have pre-ordered, so Monster Hunter Stories 3 will be the first Monster Hunter Stories game I pre-order. Because I'm definitely getting that. That seems freaking cool. And if it is co-op, I would love to have someone to play along with. I kind of hope that they take another page from Wilds and make it cross-play, so you can play with friends regardless of what console you're playing on. I hope that's the case. And I guess at the current time, at least from the way I know, at least from all I know right now, that's all we're getting right now, and right now it's just more speculation, guessing, whatnot. Like, the co-op thing is just a total guess. It's just the kind of feel I get from the logo, the two Rathaloses, and the fact your character had another character behind them who was also a writer and got on a Legiana, but that obviously could just be as simple as it's another NPC follower that has a Legiana. Which, if that's all it is, if that's like just confirmation that if it's at the very least confirmation that we just are getting other story related NPCs to assist us other hunting buddies, that's still not bad. I did enjoy that part very much of Stories 2. And I hope there are hunter buddies as well. Like, one thing that I was thinking of Monster Hunter Stories 3 that I would kind of like to see, I would be interested if there is a way for our character, at least sometimes, to be a hunter, where we don't have a monster, our character is just a hunter and does like big attacks on our own. I don't really know. The problem with that is I don't really know how you would really implement that, at least in like the base story. I could see you like switching out a character, like switching your rider character out for another hunter character, like after you beat the story or something. But like, because like after beating the story of Monster Hunter Stories 2, then throughout the entire story, your buddies are already predetermined, but after you beat the main story itself, then you're able to select which Monster Hunter buddy you want. So that would be the only time I could really like see that potentially happening and it making sense. But the developers could always find a way. But I don't know, that's just a little something I would kind of find interesting, like just us being a hunter or having more hunter buddy options, because like in Stories 2 we only had two legit hunters to select from, Roberto and Kyle, and was selecting between Great Sword Hunter and Bow Hunter. So it'd be kind of interesting, and it would be kind of interesting to see other weapons implemented with the game, because I don't think Gunlance was even in the first stories. At least I haven't seen it. Don't think I've seen it. I actually no. Yeah, Gunlance. Not only Gunlance, but Bow I don't think is there. At least I might be forgetting. I might just be forgetting that one. But I don't know. No, I think, is Bow there? Hang on. I feel like I'm going a little stupid here. Hang on. I gotta look this up and make sure I'm not going crazy. No, not Monster Hunter Stories 2. Okay. Okay, yeah. I wasn't going crazy. Okay. Yeah, in stories, there's only Great Sword, Sword and Shield, Hammer, and Hunting Horn. Which, I mean, I am glad they got the best weapon choice, Sword and Shield, in the game. You can't change my mind, and I don't take that back. All you other weapon mains, I'm a Sword and Shield main through and through, and I don't care what anyone says about it. Proud SNS main. So yeah, there's no ranged weapons in the first stories, and then in stories 2, they brought in the bow and gunlance. So that was just 6 of the 14 weapons. So it'd be interesting if Monster Hunter Stories 3 was able to bring other weapons, like some of the other weapons. It'd be interesting to see if they could implement them and find ways of making that. Yeah, it would be kind of interesting. Like, I could definitely see heavy and light bowgun being added, and if they could add gun lance, I'm sure they could find a way to add just regular lance. And dual blades, too. I'm kind of surprised they... And longsword. I'm really kind of surprised they didn't find a way to add longsword. That would be fun. Like, seeing our characters use the longsword in turn-based combat. Just... That would be entertaining, I think. And the funny thing is, like, there is technically a longsword in the first Monster Hunter stories, because Roberto in that one has a longsword, but since he's not one of you, since there's no buddy system, since he doesn't fight alongside you, he just, other than one single time in one cutscene, at least that I've seen thus far, he only uses it to, like, cut you out of spider webs, so, and that's it. But other than that, that is kind of interesting how they didn't even, that they switched his weapon completely for Stories 2. I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what characters make a comeback, because Naviru wasn't even in this, so maybe Naviru isn't here. Although I feel like he probably will. Stories is kind of his thing. So you never know. And who else would be there to tell us how much the egg weighs and how much it stinks? How the egg smells? Who would be there to help us kind of get an idea of how good the egg we have is? Hey, right now, like I said, is we can only speculate and guesstimate and assume what all's coming. But I am looking very much forward to more trailers. I hope they come sooner rather than later, but I don't expect to see any more for a little while. But I'm excited that we're getting another Monster Hunter Stories. I really am. So probably in order to get ready for it, I might need to start streaming and recording the other one. I'm still in the process of getting through the first stories, so still working on that. I kind of hit a little roadblock encountering Zinogre. Zinogre has whooped my butt, so I'm needing to get some new, more powerful, more fitting monsters to face Zinogre, and definitely some better weapons. And I do enjoy the first stories, but it is just not the same as Monster Hunter Stories 2. And I hope that, one thing I really do hope stays the same with Stories 3, assuming that it is going to be turn-based combat, which I can't imagine it would be anything else other than that, but assuming that it is turn-based combat, I really hope it sticks to the system where the monsters have, at least the vast majority of monsters have a set moveset, like when that monsters will start out with one type of attack, then once they get enraged, they'll do another, and if they're flying and they start flying, then do another kind of attack. And obviously have some of the, other kinds of attacks that affect everyone, and you can't really predict, especially on, a first go. As you fight them, you can more easily predict what they're going to be doing, or at least have a good guess of what they're going to do. Because, even with that system in Stories 2, even when you know the kinds of attacks that the monsters will be doing, say, I don't really want to say monster because I get the attack type wrong, but, okay, Velocidrome, they at least start out with speed, and then once they get enraged, they switch to, power, technical, something. But, so even though you know it'll have the speed attack, when it's not enraged, it can throw in some other attacks that make you forced to guess. Even if you know, better example. Recently, I have been playing it again to try and get a Soul Seer Mizutsune, and even though I faced it multiple times, and at this point I pretty much know what it's gonna do, it still gets the upper hand of me because its attacks are devastating, and the fact that even though I find it bullcrap in the heat of the moment in the battle itself, it makes sense for the monster to have, for at least some monsters to have more than one attack per turn. I do get that. It makes it more challenging, makes you plan ahead more. Still find it bullcrap when I'm in the actual fight itself, and I pretty much always will, but I get it. I'm a grown man, so I gotta accept that monsters aren't always gonna fight fair. Yeah, I hope they implement a system like that, and not really stories where it just seems to change for no reason. There's probably some rhyme or reason that I'm just too dumb to figure out, to take the time and figure out, but I don't know. Like, especially with the Zinogre, the thing that threw me off is, like, the Zinogre's, like, power and speed attacks. And I'm like, which are they going to start with, Naviru? And that's kind of one of the ways that I got kicked in the butt. Yeah, I'm interested to see what Stories 3 brings. Can't wait to see what all comes of it. I guess that's gonna have to do it. I've been rambling like way even longer than probably like 15 times longer than the trailer ever went. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what comes of it, what all they bring to the table with this. I'm excited to learn. Excited to see what the egg system is going to be like, if it's going to be similar. I imagine it probably will, where you can, like, find monster dens and, like, the rare ones are different colors. I'm excited. And hopefully you guys are excited, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction, which ended like a long freaking time ago. But if you managed to make it this far, into my ramblings, well then, I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and be sure to hit that notification bell to get updates on all the videos. And check out my other 2 YouTube channels and my Twitch, where I will occasionally stream and then post later on. I'll leave links to my channels and Twitch in the description below. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Also, just wanted to come back real quick and say, Sword and Shield better still be there in Stories 3, or else, Capcom, I will still play your game, but I will be very, very annoyed with you. Okay, bye-bye.